What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Knives Off the Round Table. My name's Marco, and today we're going to be taking a look at kind of a special little piece. This is the Medford Eris, and I am the first one to freely admit that I have an unhealthy love-hate relationship with Medford knives. I don't think that they're great value. I think they're probably amongst the poorest value you can have in knives, but I just like them very, very much. So, coming from a guy who owns, I don't know, four or five Medford knives, I know it's kind of weird, but Medford knives, I think they're really well made objects. I think they have really cool designs. I don't think they're great value, and so while it's hard for me to say that I don't fully recommend the Medford knife, it's kind of hypocritical of me because I have four of them. So what I will say is, if you like it, if you enjoy it, it doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense. Okay, we all eat a Cinnabon, even though it's really bad for our health, even though they're really expensive because they're just so damn good. And that's kind of what I feel with Medford knives. Okay, Medford knives for me is my Cinnabon. Okay, it doesn't make much sense, but they're just awesome. So today we're going to be taking a look at this little guy. So let me give you a little bit of a tour of the knife. This version it's blue anodized with these they're kind of milled in, but they have this as if it were brushed. So they have this indentations here on the show side, on the back side. You've got a titanium pocket clip. You've got a little bit of a lanyard back here with a back spacer. You do not have an insert. Medford doesn't believe in lock bar inserts. Okay, it's a titanium frame lock. And this is in D2 steel. I don't know if you can tell, there's a D right there. Medford, for whatever reason, he prefers to do his materials kind of coated. So in his Medford University knives, he tells you what they all mean. The S, the D, the 9. I guess he's going to use M for his Magna Cut. And what you have here is kind of you have this stop pin, but I really like that it kind of disappears into the frame. You see, it disappears right into the frame. It's kind of a harpoon blade with this hole for deployment, but it's a small knife. And what I'll do here is, let's get into size comparisons. So here it is against the Benchmade bug out. So you can see it's a very, very, very small knife. Okay, and this is the mini bug out. So even the mini bug out feels like it's huge. Now it's a chunky boy. Okay, especially, I mean, if you go this way, you can see it's very, very, it's a very chunky boy, especially the blade. I mean, look at the difference in blade thickness between the Eris and the mini bug out. Okay, now the mini bug out, granted, it's one of the thinnest blades, but still really, really thick blade. So let me show you here. Here it is against the Para 3 and the Para 2. So again, it's a chunky boy and it's a small chunky boy in comparison in thickness against the Para 3 and the Para 2. So it's still thicker than either of those two. So for its size, it's certainly fat. Now, what you have here is it's a very small knife, but I really, really like this one. And the reason I like this one is I think it's hard to get good ergonomics on such small knives. But this one, because it's a chunky boy, because it's thick, it actually fits my hand relatively well. It's a 3-finger grip for me, so you grip it here, but your pinky ends up here, landing here in the back, and it kind of locks the knife in place. And then your thumb comes to rest on this harpoon thumb ramp, and it's actually very good. It's not terribly comfortable. I think there's probably two or three hot spots. Uh, for the most part, I don't know of any Medford knives that are contoured, so you end up with a 90-degree edge. It's been rounded, but you end up with kind of a 90-degree edge here and here. So you feel those, and then the clip, you feel it. But you get a very decent grip on this knife, and I think that's very impressive to do in such a small package. I just think, I think I would be able to push through something a little bit harder, if I wanted to use this knife for something harder. Obviously, because of its size, it's not really meant to do that, but you could, especially because it's really well built, thick blade. You're not going to do anything to this knife. So ergonomics, while it's not terribly comfortable, you do get a very, very good solid grip and purchase on this knife. Now the action is very Medford. It's kind of similar to Chris Reeve, right? It's glassy smooth. It moves really well. It feels premium, but I can't really deploy it. Not even, I can't middle finger flick it really. I think if I give it some wrist, I can use my thumb to deploy it, but I wouldn't say that this is a fast deploying knife. This is more of a roll it out kind of a thing. And that's my experience with most Medford knives. I haven't had a Smooth Criminal or any of his flippers, so maybe I need to get one of those to get some of the faster action ones. But it does feel really good. It feels really, really premium. It's some people describe it as hydraulic. I certainly think it's very smooth. It just glides down. It feels so nice. So it's not fast action, but it feels really, really premium. Now, cutting, that's the thing with Medford knives and cutting. They're not great cutters. He uses a very thick blade stock. Like I said, if I show you against the bug out, but if I show you against this is the Para 3. So it's very thick blade stock. And the grinds, I guess it's a tallish blade, but the grind starts right here, and so it gets to not so thin an edge behind the secondary bevel, and because it gets thick really quickly, so they're not great slicers. You're gonna be able to do a lot of lighter tasks, a lot of things where you don't need to slice through things, but cut above things, shallow cuts. But in general, I don't think that Medford knives are great at cutting. They're not great slicers. When you get a thicker blade stock, they're meant to be more robust, more reliable, but you sacrifice some performance with that. And I think that's the case with a lot of Medford knives, especially the TI version, the tie, the Genesis tie, the Micro Praetorian tie, all of those, they have an even thicker stock than this, but they're not great slicers. Again, if you're like me, I work in an office. My cutting needs are very light, and most knives will accomplish what I need. But if you're going to be slicing through a lot of stuff, I don't think that Medford knives are really that great at it. I think they're really well built, but just when there's only so much you can do when you get this thick a stock on a knife. Now, I kind of touched on it, but let me talk about fit and finish. So I think Medford knives are excellently built. I think they have really good quality. I think they glide. I just love, I've heard Greg Medford talk about his grind, and the fact that you've got this grind lines that are kind of perpendicular to the edge. You see how it rotates. What you need to do that is you need to grind it by hand. Okay, so all of these blades, so these are production knives, but they're hand ground production knives, and I think that's part of the reason that it makes them so expensive. and they are expensive. Okay, this is probably the worst value of the Medford lineup. I don't know, this is like probably $400 or thereabouts. So they're expensive, especially for that small a knife. But I do understand that, things that are made in the United States and made by hand, because this is hand ground. It takes more money to achieve something like this. So the fit and finish is really, really nice. The blade is perfectly centered, as you can tell. Again, the stop pin just fits beautifully in here. Let me see if I can zoom it in there. It gets it. The ground is beautiful. It's perfectly symmetrical on both sides. And again, getting this grind to be perfectly symmetrical when you're hand grinding these blades, it takes a lot of skill. And it's just you got this satin on top and on the flats. You got this chamfer. It's really nicely done. Again, he doesn't contour his scales, and that detracts a little bit from the ergonomics. But you've got these lines that are very, very attractive, and I just think it's a great looking little knife. It was a strong contender for the 5 knives that make me happy. I'll link to my 5 knives that make me happy video, and this was a strong contender. If you see that video, you'll see which one it would replace. It's just a really nice looking knife. You can still get these. I believe probably DLT Trading has some. I believe Monkey Edge has some. You'll have to hunt for one. I don't think they're making them anymore. So if you like this one, jump on it, because I don't think they're making it anymore. You'll find the Hunden or the Das Hund or something like that, which is kind of a different blade shape. But I just love this harpoon. It looks like a badass little knife. I think it just looks really, really cool. Now, the airing of grievances, it's my general grievance with in general with Medford knives, right? I don't think they're great value. They're really expensive. At $400+ it's just really expensive. I would want it to be in the $300 range at most, maybe even less, especially for a D2 blade. I don't like the proprietary pivot. I like to disassemble I like the ability to disassemble my knives. And he's got Torx back here. Just give me a Torx in one of these. The proprietary hardware and not including the tool, it's just, look, I hope that Medford knives is around forever. Okay, I really do. But what happens if they're not? I mean, I'm left with just a pivot that I can't do anything with. So I just don't like that. I hate the fact that they do this proprietary pivot and they don't include a tool for me to disassemble it. I don't like that you don't have a lock bar insert. It's carbonized, but I just, I like to keep my knives for a long time, and I just think the longevity is a little bit compromised when you don't have a lock bar insert. And in general, the lack of contouring provides a little bit of, I think you could improve the ergonomics significantly if you didn't have 90-degree edges at every change in profile. Again, it's very difficult. It's very difficult for me to recommend a Medford knife because I don't think it's a great value. Okay, but if you like the aesthetics and if you're like me, that you don't really need high performance out of your cutting, I do think they're beautifully made knives, high quality knives made in the United States. And as a person who has 4 or 5 of them, I'm really not going to be the one to judge you. I think I think they look really, really cool. I like having them in my pocket. I like carrying them. You're just, you're going to pay for that. And it's not, again, not great value, but you know, sometimes we just indulge. So hopefully this helps you guys, and if you like it, just like and subscribe. Don't hit the notification. You know where to find me if you want to see any of my videos. Take care until I see you at the next one.